The sun was slowly moving down over the hot Arizona sky, painting everything with a warm gold color. Dust rose from the ground with each step a man took. His clothes were worn, his boots covered in old dirt, and his hat had lost its shape long ago. This man was Samuel Carter, a cowboy who had spent most of his life traveling across wide lands, searching for work, peace, and sometimes answers to questions no one could explain. Samuel had been on the road for many days. He was tired, thirsty, and his body hurt more than he wanted to admit. Earlier that morning, he had faced trouble on the open trail. A group of rough men had tried to stop him. They had not been friendly, and Samuel had barely escaped. While fleeing, his horse had stumbled, and Samuel had fallen hard onto the rocky ground. His shoulder ached, his head felt dizzy. But he forced himself to continue walking because stopping meant giving up. The land around him was quiet. There were tall red rocks, dry bushes, and cactus plants standing like guards. The wind carried only the sound of his slow footsteps. Samuel looked ahead and wondered if he would ever reach a town or even a river with clean water. His throat burned from thirst. His legs felt weak. His vision blurred. But he kept moving. After a while, his knees suddenly gave up, and Samuel dropped onto the sand. He breathed heavily and tried to stand again, but his strength was gone. The sky above him spun like a wheel. He thought maybe this would be his final day. He closed his eyes, tired of fighting. But someone was watching. A young Apache woman named Ayanna had been gathering herbs on a nearby hill. She noticed something strange far below near the dry riverbed. A man was lying there, his body still in the heat. She felt a quick burst of worry. She had been taught to stay careful. Outsiders could be trouble, but her heart would not allow her to walk away without seeing if he needed help. Ayanna moved closer, silent as the wind. Her long, dark hair swung gently with each step. She was strong and brave, wearing soft leather clothing, decorated with colorful beads that represented her tribe. Her deep brown eyes scanned the cowboy carefully. She could see that he was hurt and exhausted, maybe even close to fainting. His lips were dry and cracked. Sweat covered his face. Samuel opened his eyes a little when he heard a faint sound. He saw a blurry figure above him and tried to speak. His voice cracked like dry wood. "Water. Please. Please." Ayanna knew he was no danger in his condition. She slowly took out a small water pouch and held it to his lips. Samuel drank eagerly, every drop feeling like life returning to his body. After a few sips, he whispered a weak, "Thank you." His eyes closed again. But this time he was not losing consciousness. He was only resting. Ayanna looked around. The land was quiet, but she knew staying in open ground was not safe. Her tribe lived in a hidden canyon not far away, protected by tall rocks and secret paths. If she left this man here, he might not survive. Her heart told her to help, even if others in her tribe would question her choice. She gently helped Samuel sit up, using a cloth to support his injured shoulder. He was awake enough to try walking, but he stumbled badly, so she allowed him to lean on her as they slowly made their way toward the canyon. The journey was slow and careful. Samuel did his best, but the pain made him wince again and again. Even so, he kept whispering apologies for being a burden. Ayanna simply told him to save his strength. The entrance to the canyon was hidden behind two giant rocks that looked like they were placed there by nature to protect whoever lived inside. When they reached the shaded area, a cooler breeze welcomed them. Samuel felt relief wash over him. He tried to look around, but dizziness stopped him. Inside the canyon, small homes made of wood and clay were built near fresh water that flowed from underground springs. The sound of water and children playing normally brought happiness to the tribe. But today, everything fell silent when Ayanna entered with a stranger. Curious eyes watched from behind woven curtains. Some stepped forward to see more. Samuel knew he was somewhere safe, but he could also feel tension in the air. He hoped he would not be seen as a threat. He could barely stand, so he silently prayed that these people would trust him, even if only for a short time. Ayanna spoke to an older woman, who rushed to get healing herbs. Together, they guided Samuel into a small shelter with a bed of soft animal skins. He sank into the comfort, grateful beyond words. His shoulder was cleaned and wrapped with gentle hands. Cool water was placed near him. As the sunset light disappeared and soft night breezes moved through the canyon, Samuel finally relaxed enough to sleep. While he slept, Ayanna met with the tribe's leader, her father, a wise man, respected by all. His face held lines that showed years of protecting his people. He listened to his daughter as she explained how she found the cowboy. She told him the man was alone, injured, and simply needed help. The leader frowned. Outsiders had caused them many troubles in the past. He did not want more danger. But he also trusted his daughter's heart and judgment. Ayanna had always cared for others without fear. "We will watch him carefully," he said. "If he brings harm, he will not be allowed to stay. But if he seeks only peace, then the Great Spirit will guide us." Ayanna agreed and returned to check on Samuel. He was sleeping deeply, finally free from pain. She studied him quietly, wondering who he really was and what story his tired eyes would tell when he woke. Days passed, and Samuel grew stronger. Each morning, Ayanna brought him simple food like fruit, corn, and freshly baked bread. She spoke politely. Though she remained cautious, Samuel showed gratitude with every small improvement. Soon he could sit outside the shelter and look at the life around him. Children ran past, laughing. Women prepared food near small fires. Men worked on tools or fished near the stream. It was a peaceful place, hidden from the troubles of the outside world. Samuel realized this tribe had everything they needed, except safety. He noticed worried looks among the adults, whispers that carried sadness. Ayanna had told him a little. Soldiers had taken much of their hunting land. Buffalo herds moved farther each season. Their people were fewer now. He wanted to say something comforting, but he knew words were not always enough. One evening, as the sky turned purple and stars brightened, Samuel thanked Ayanna for saving him. He said he owed his life to her kindness. Ayanna smiled softly but reminded him that trust would take time. Her people needed to be sure he wished them no harm. Samuel understood. He had made mistakes in life, but would not repeat them here. He slowly earned the tribe's trust. He helped carry firewood when he could. He repaired tools using skills he learned on the ranch. One night, he even told funny stories from his travels, making the children laugh. Little by little, the distrust surrounding him began to fade. But even with these good moments, dark clouds of worry still hung in the hearts of the tribe. Samuel saw how their leader looked at the horizon with concern each day. Ayanna sometimes sat quietly by the water, her expression full of hope but also fear for the future. Samuel didn't know yet, but soon everything would change. His arrival in this canyon was not just luck or accident. Fate had brought him here at the right moment. These people were facing threats that could break their lives forever, and Samuel would soon be forced to choose whether he simply walked away or stayed to help protect the ones who saved him when he needed it the most. On that first night when he lay staring up at the stars, Samuel felt something new inside his heart, a sense of belonging, a feeling that he might have finally found a place where he mattered. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in many years, Samuel Carter allowed himself to hope that he could repay kindness with courage, hope that he could find friendship where he least expected it, hope that his journey had a purpose after all. After several days in the Apache village, Samuel Carter felt strength returning to his body. His shoulder still hurt sometimes, but he could move his arm much better. He was grateful every morning when he woke up to the peaceful sounds of water running through the canyon and birds singing from the high cliffs. It was a place that felt safe, almost like home, even though he knew he did not fully belong. The tribe treated him with caution but also with fairness. They gave him food, clean water, and space to heal. Slowly, he started learning a few Apache words, mostly from the children who laughed whenever he said something wrong. Their laughter was warm and innocent, and he could not help but smile with them. Ayanna continued checking on him every day. She brought him herbal drinks and guided him when he tried to walk farther into the village. Samuel enjoyed these moments. Even if Ayanna often kept her words short, she was strong, brave, and carried herself like someone who expected responsibility. He had learned she was the daughter of the chief, which explained why everyone listened when she spoke. One afternoon, as he watched the tribe prepare their evening meal, Samuel noticed something unusual. The friendly smiles faded whenever a worried whisper passed between the adults. Eyes drifted toward the canyon entrance, where shadows grew long as the sun dropped lower behind the rocks. Samuel quietly asked Ayanna, "Is something wrong?" Ayanna looked at him thoughtfully for a moment. She seemed unsure how much to share. But then her expression softened. She trusted him enough to tell a piece of the truth. "Our tribe faces hard times," she began. "The buffalo herds, which once gave us food and strong skin for clothing, have moved far away. Our hunters travel long distances and return with less each time." Samuel nodded, understanding. He had seen the same across the lands. Times were changing everywhere. Ayanna continued. "And soldiers came from the east, asking us to leave our land and go to a place they chose. They say it will be better there. But my people know our home better than any map they draw. We belong here, where our families have lived for generations." Her voice remained calm, but Samuel could hear the sadness beneath it. He looked around the village once more, beautiful, full of life. The thought of these people being forced to leave made his chest tighten. "And that is not all," she added quietly. "There are also men who come from far places. They do not belong to any tribe or army. They want to take what is not theirs. They cause fear." Samuel listened closely. He had faced troublesome men before. He knew how dangerous greed could be. "There must be something you can do," he said. Ayanna stared into the distance. "We always try. Our warriors guard our borders. We keep hope alive. But it grows harder each season." Her honesty touched Samuel. He wished there were easy answers, but he knew life rarely offered simple choices. Over the next days, Samuel began spending more time helping where he could. He repaired tools and fixed a few wooden fences that protected small gardens. He helped the hunters sharpen their arrow tips and taught them a few things he knew about tracking in open land. The men appreciated his efforts, even if they didn't express it with many words. One morning, the chief invited Samuel to sit by the fire with him. The old man's eyes held wisdom that came from years of watching and learning from the world. "You are healing well," the chief said. "My daughter tells me you have been helping our people." Samuel nodded respectfully. "Your kindness saved my life. I want to do what I can in return." "That is good," the chief replied. "But you must understand, many here still fear those from outside our tribe. Pain from past events does not disappear quickly." "I understand," Samuel answered. "I have no desire to harm anyone here. I want peace now, more than anything." The chief studied his face. After a moment, he spoke again. "My daughter believes you are a man who follows his heart. She trusts that your path is not one of trouble. See." End quote. Those words meant more to Samuel than he expected. He felt honor in knowing Ayanna saw something good in him. Later that evening, Samuel walked to the river where Ayanna was filling water baskets. The sunlight reflected on the water, creating dancing spots of light on her clothing. She smiled slightly when she saw him approach. "Your father spoke with me today," Samuel said. Ayanna nodded, not surprised. "He wants to know if you are a man who will bring storm clouds or bring help." "And what do you think?" Samuel asked gently. Her eyes met his with quiet strength. "I think you came here for a reason, not by chance. Maybe fate guided your steps." Samuel looked down at the water, thinking about her words. He had never believed much in fate, but now, he wasn't so sure. Days passed peacefully, but beneath the calm, fear still lived. Samuel saw it in the quick glances adults exchanged, in the way warriors patrolled near the canyon entrance, even at night. Something was coming. Everyone could feel it. One afternoon, The hunters returned earlier than expected, carrying only a small catch. Their faces were serious. Ayanna hurried to meet them. Samuel followed slowly. A hunter whispered something urgently to the chief. The chief's jaw tightened. The villagers nearby stopped what they were doing, sensing trouble. Ayanna came back toward Samuel. He noticed her hands trembled slightly. "What happened?" he asked. "There are strangers nearby," she said softly. "Hunters saw signs on the trail tracks from horses that do not belong to us." "Fresh tracks," Samuel frowned. "Do they think it's those troublemaking men you told me about?" Ayanna nodded. "Most likely. We must prepare in case they come closer." The atmosphere in the village changed quickly. Children were quietly guided indoors. Fires were lowered to keep smoke from rising too high. Warriors checked their weapons and took positions near the canyon entrance. Everyone moved with calm but focused energy. Samuel's heart beat faster. He didn't want to bring fear with him, but now he wondered if his arrival had drawn danger. Still, he refused to hide or step back. These people had saved him, and he would not let fear control him. He approached the chief and the gathered warriors. "Tell me how I can help," he said firmly. The chief looked at him for a long moment. He saw no fear in Samuel's eyes, only determination. So he nodded. "You will stay close to the entrance with Ayanna," he said. "She knows this land better than anyone. Follow her guidance." Samuel agreed without hesitation. Ayanna handed him a strong wooden staff. He was still recovering, and she did not want him to strain his injured shoulder. He accepted it gratefully. As the sun lowered behind the canyon walls, long shadows stretched across the ground. Samuel and Ayanna stood together near the hidden entrance. The silence around them felt heavy, like the air before a storm. "If those men appear, we will try to guide them away without trouble," Ayanna whispered. "We want peace, always." Samuel nodded. "Peace is what I want too." Minutes felt like hours. Every sound, the rustle of leaves, a stone falling made Samuel alert. But nothing came from outside the canyon. Only the natural night sounds surrounded them. Insects buzzing, the soft call of a night bird. After a long time, Ayanna finally let out a gentle breath. "Maybe they changed direction," she said. Samuel hoped she was right. The chief signaled for everyone to return to their usual duties, though worry still lingered in every step. The children came outside again, but their laughter was quieter. The sky filled with stars, and fires returned with soft, glowing light. Later, as Samuel walked back toward his shelter, Ayanna joined him. "You were brave tonight," she told him. "I simply stood there with you," Samuel replied. "Courage is not always loud," she said with a soft smile. "Sometimes courage is staying when you could walk away." Her words warmed him more than the firelight. Samuel lay awake for a long time that night, thinking about everything he had seen and learned. This tribe was full of strength and heart, but they were facing difficult days. He did not know how long he would stay, but he already cared deeply about their future. He promised himself something silently, staring up at the starry sky. If trouble came, he would not run. He would stand with Ayanna and her people. He would protect the tribe that had protected him, and though he didn't yet know how, he was sure of one thing. His story with the Apache tribe was far from over. Samuel woke up the next morning with a feeling he could not fully understand. Something inside him told him that the peaceful days in the canyon were becoming fewer. A soft worry had settled in his heart, and it would not leave. He stepped outside his shelter and looked around. The sun was rising, casting a golden light over the village. It looked beautiful, but the fear from the night before still lingered in the air. He saw Ayanna near the water stream, speaking quietly with two young warriors. They looked serious, pointing toward the canyon entrance. When she noticed Samuel walking closer, she gave the warriors a nod, and they walked away. Samuel stood beside her, watching the water flow past shining stones. "Are the hunters sure they saw strangers yesterday?" he asked gently. Ayanna nodded. "Yes. Their signs were fresh. They believe the strangers will come again, maybe even soon." Samuel dipped his hand into the cool water. Your people deserve peace, he said softly. Ayana's eyes reflected a mix of hope and sadness. Peace is something we pray for every day, she replied. But sometimes, life gives us a test before it gives us peace. They remained quiet for a moment, watching sunlight flicker on the water's surface. Samuel wanted to help more than simple words could ever show. He looked up at the tall canyon walls, then back at the village homes. If there is something I can do, anything, I want to do it, he said, his voice steady. Ayana studied him carefully. There was trust building between them, a kind that did not need many words. You already help, she said. Your presence brings ideas different from ours, and sometimes that can save a life. Samuel wasn't sure what she meant, but he felt proud of her belief in him. Later that day, the chief called everyone together. People gathered around the fire pit in the center of the village. Children sat close to their mothers, while warriors stood in a protective circle. The chief raised his voice so all could hear. We have lived in this canyon for many seasons. We respect the land, and we respect every life around us. We wish no harm to anyone. But there are times when danger grows near. We must be ready. Everyone listened, their faces filled with quiet concern. Ayana stood beside her father. Her eyes searched the crowd, making sure people listened closely. The chief continued, We have seen signs of strangers. We do not know their hearts, but we will stay alert. We will keep our homes safe. He then turned to Samuel. This man who has come to us did not ask for help, but he needed it. We welcomed him, and he has shown us kindness in return. He is one of us now. Samuel felt warmth spread in his chest. The tribe saw him as a friend, a part of their family. It was a gift he did not expect. People nodded respectfully toward him. Children smiled. Even those who once doubted him now gave him looks of trust. After the gathering, Ayana walked with Samuel through a small garden of corn and beans. The plants stood green and tall, though many leaves were thinner than they should be. Not enough rain this year? Samuel asked. Ayana sighed. Not enough everything, she replied. Food is less. Worry is more. Samuel touched a leaf gently. I've lived through hard times before, he said. But facing it with others always makes it easier. Ayana smiled softly. Yes. My people always stay together. We never give up. As they walked, Samuel noticed how the village seemed to breathe through shared strength. Even when things were difficult, no one was alone. That evening, the sky filled with orange and purple colors. The tribe cooked a simple meal of corn cakes and roasted vegetables. Music began soft drum beats and calming flute notes that echoed beautifully off the canyon walls. Samuel sat close to the fire, enjoying the warm glow on his face. Children danced playfully in a circle, their laughter like small bells. Women clapped their hands to the beat. The simple joy eased the tension everyone had been holding. Ayana joined Samuel by the fire, handing him a fresh plate of food. When their eyes met, the world seemed to slow. There was an unspoken understanding between them, a growing connection that words could not describe. You are part of our circle tonight, she told him. Samuel smiled. I'm honored. They watched the dancers together. In that moment, the fears of tomorrow faded into the background. Hope burned brighter in the firelight, but the night was not yet done teaching them. As the music continued, one of the hunters came running from the canyon entrance. He stopped near the fire, breathing fast. The drums fell silent. Everyone turned to look at him. The hunter tried to speak calmly, but urgency rushed through his voice. New tracks outside. Many horses. They are closer than yesterday. A quiet worry spread across the village, like a cool wind. The chief stood. How many? Hard to say, the hunter replied. More than before. Ayana's face tightened. Samuel noticed, and his heart beat faster. He knew the time for watching quietly was ending. The chief spoke strong but calm words. We do not seek conflict, but we will protect our families. Everyone stay close. We will watch the entrance through the night. People nodded, trusting their leader completely. Samuel stood beside Ayanna as groups of warriors gathered torches and took their positions. He could see Ayanna thinking deeply, her mind turning like a blade being sharpened. She turned to Samuel and spoke quietly. "If trouble comes, will you stay with us?" It was not a question of ability. It was a question of heart. Samuel looked directly into her eyes. "I will stay. Always. As long as you need me." Ayanna breathed out slowly, relief touching her expression for a brief moment. "Thank you," she whispered. The night grew cooler. Stars filled the sky like tiny silver lamps. Samuel and Ayanna moved to a high spot near the canyon entrance, where they could see both the open land outside and the village behind them. They sat side by side, watching the movement of shadows far away. It was quiet, almost too quiet. Samuel could feel excitement and nervousness mixing in his chest, yet, with Ayanna near him, he felt brave. He felt that together they could face anything. Ayanna finally spoke, her voice soft and true. "My people are strong. But sometimes even the strongest need help. I want to protect them more than anything in this world." Samuel turned to her. The faint firelight in the distance reflected in her eyes. "You are a good leader," he said. "Anyone can see that." Ayanna lowered her gaze. "I just do what I must. I will do anything to keep my tribe safe." There was a long pause. Then she looked at Samuel again, her heart speaking louder than her voice. "If you stay and help us through this," she said very gently, "then I promise you a future. A future filled with joy, family, and purpose. A future with me." Samuel felt his breath stop for a moment. Her words touched the deepest part of him, a part that had been empty for years. He had wandered for so long, never finding a place to belong. But here, with Ayanna, he felt something new. He felt chosen, needed, wanted. "No matter what happens," Samuel said firmly, "I will stand with you. I will help protect this tribe. I give you my word." Ayanna smiled softly, her eyes shining with trust. It was the kind of smile that stays in a person's heart forever. Far away, a faint echo of hooves sounded in the night. The strangers were still out there, watching, waiting, but Samuel and Ayanna did not look away. They sat strong and calm. Side by side, they were ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. The wind blew gently through the canyon, whispering a promise. Together, they would face the coming challenge. Together, they would protect the tribe. Together, they would build a future worth fighting for. The night continued to stretch slowly, as Samuel and Ayanna watched the land outside the canyon. Each passing moment felt heavier than the one before. The wind carried sounds from the distance. And though it was still too dark to see clearly, they knew strangers were not far. But they stayed strong, side by side, just as they promised. Morning arrived quietly. The village woke with tired faces and worried hearts, but the adults tried not to show fear in front of the children. The chief met with the warriors again, speaking softly but firmly about keeping watch. Ayanna stood with them, her back straight, her spirit calm. Samuel helped where he could. He checked the entrance paths to understand how the canyon could be guarded better. He noticed that some stones near the main entrance were loose and could be moved easily. He studied the shape of the canyon walls and then shared his thoughts with Ayanna and the chief. "If we move some large stones here," he explained while pointing, "and place wooden posts there, it will make the entrance smaller. Only 1 or 2 people could get through at a time. That gives your warriors more control if anyone tries to enter without permission." The chief examined the area thoughtfully. Ayanna added, "We can also grow thorny bushes here. They grow fast and make the path narrow." Everyone agreed it was a wise idea. With teamwork, they pushed the heavy stones into position and laid strong poles made from fallen trees. The entrance became tighter and safer. Even the children helped by passing smaller rocks and cheering each time a part was finished. Seeing everyone work together gave the village renewed hope. Days passed without any sight of strangers. The fresh traps and barriers at the entrance gave the tribe comfort. The hunters brought back more food. and the gardens began to show early signs of harvest. But Samuel could still feel tension in the air. He saw it in the chief's quiet glances toward the horizon, and in the way warriors held their bows a little tighter every time they heard movement outside. One evening, after helping sharpen tools, Samuel sat by the riverside. Ayanna joined him, a few moments later. Her presence always brought him peace. "You have changed many things for us," she said warmly. "Your ideas made our home safer. Our people smile more now." Samuel felt his heart lift. "I just wanted to help. You saved me first. We both helped each other," Ayanna whispered, looking gently into his eyes. Samuel then asked a question that had been growing inside him for days. "If the trouble is over now, if your tribe becomes safe again, what happens to me?" 1. Ayanna paused. Her expression became soft, almost shy. "You will stay with us, if that is what you want," he smiled kindly. "It is what I want." But Ayanna looked a bit worried as well. "Samuel, you lived your whole life out there, riding freely across the land. Living here is different. This place becomes part of you. You stay not only with your body, but with your heart." Samuel thought about it. He remembered his old life riding alone, sleeping under open skies with no one to call family. For years he searched for something he could not name. Now he finally understood. "My heart already belongs here," he said softly. Ayanna's breath caught slightly. Happiness sparkled in her eyes. They sat together for a long time, watching fireflies dance above the river as night wrapped the canyon in a calm silence. The next morning brought something unexpected good news. One of the hunters returned from a long journey and said the strangers who had been near their lands were no longer around. They had moved far to the north. Relief rolled through the tribe like a cool breeze on a hot day. The chief smiled fully for the first time in many weeks. Children ran and played with bright laughter. Women prepared a special meal to celebrate safety and life. Warriors lowered their strict watch and joined in small conversations, finally letting their shoulders relax. When Samuel heard the news, he closed his eyes for a moment and let gratitude fill his heart. They were safe. The tribe he cared about could continue without fear. Later that afternoon, the chief approached Samuel with a proud and kind expression. "You stood with us through fear," he said. "You brought ideas that helped protect our home. You cared when you could have simply walked away." Samuel felt humbled. He looked to Ayanna, standing nearby, her smile shining like sunlight through leaves. The chief continued, "You are a man of honor, and if you choose to stay, you will be a part of us not as an outsider, but as family." Samuel felt something warm and strong rise inside him. He nodded. "I choose to stay." The tribe welcomed him fully. Children ran around him with excitement. The women thanked him kindly. The warriors gave him respectful nods and strong handshakes. The feeling of belonging washed over him like a warm river. That night, a beautiful celebration took place. A great fire lit the center of the village. Music filled the air once more. Drums, flutes, and joyful voices. The moon shined bright and full above the canyon walls, watching over them like a guardian. Ayanna walked toward Samuel, dressed in clothing decorated with special beads that symbolized courage and hope. She looked radiant, more than Samuel had ever seen before. His heart beat faster as she stood beside him. The chief raised his voice so everyone could hear. "This man has given us strength, and now he stands with us by choice. May our tribe and his heart always stay strong together." Everyone cheered with happiness. Ayanna reached out and took Samuel's hand, her touch gentle and sure. Her smile told him everything her words did not have to say. They stepped closer to the fire, joining the joyful circle of dancers. As they danced, Samuel looked around at the smiling faces, at the young ones he had grown to care for, at the chief, who now trusted him, and most of all, at Ayanna, whose strength and kindness had given his life meaning again. The fire warmed their faces, and the music carried their spirits high. Samuel knew he had found what he had been searching for all his life, a place to call home, a family to protect, a future full of hope. In that moment, he silently promised himself and Ayana that he would always stand by her side. He would help her ensure the tribe remained safe, strong, and happy for generations to come. The wind softly brushed past them, as if whispering blessings. The stars above sparkled brighter than usual, as though celebrating a new beginning. Ayana leaned close and spoke quietly, only for Samuel to hear. "Here, we are stronger together." Samuel squeezed her hand and replied, "Together, always." The drums continued, the fire danced high, and the village celebrated under the night sky. Their story had faced challenges, but now it moved forward, filled with hope. Samuel Carter, once a lonely traveler, had found a forever home, and Ayana, brave protector of her people, had found someone who would always stand with her. Their hearts beat with the promise of a beautiful future, one they would build side by side.